Okay, this is Mr. Peterson, and I'm going over some examples for the review, Chapter 2 review, Part A for Algebra 2. And what I have here are, I'm going to work out some examples that are similar to your own review. On this first example here, we're going to do, the first video, we're going to do problems 1 through 6, the front page. Okay, so the A value is always just up front here, so that's A. And in vertex form, what you have here is the opposite of H. So H is actually the positive version of 5, so you have to change that sign. The K is at the back, and you don't have to change anything there, so -6 is your K value. All right, we're supposed to describe the transformations and then identify the vertex. So the transformations that happen here in order are inside the parentheses. There's a movement to the left, 5 units. Remember, that's the opposite of H, so that's why I went to the left instead of the right. And then it's times 2. We'll take care of the negative sign later. And when you multiply by a number bigger than 1, it stretches it vertically. You want to think of the positive version of that number out there. Vertical stretch, the y's times 2. The third thing that happens here is the negative sign, and that is a vertical reflection. It gets turned on its head. And finally, this -6 at the end moves it down 6. So that's all part A of the instructions. Part B is what's the vertex, and to find the vertex you have to know that this is the opposite of H and that's K, so I'm going to switch the sign here on the first part. So there's your vertex. Okay, this next one doesn't have as many transformations. The first one inside the parenthesis, then you come out for multiplication and finally addition. The first one here is right 8 units. And then it gets multiplied by 3/4. Since that's a number less than 1, this is a vertical compression. It's not as tall when you're done. It gets compressed in the vertical direction. So all the y values in the problem get multiplied by 3/4. The third thing that happens is this +1 on the outside, which lifts it up 1 unit. All right, that's all part A. Part B is the vertex, and the vertex, if you go 8 to the right and 1 up, would be 8, 1. And that does it for problems 1, 2, and 3. Okay, for the next set of problems, we're supposed to find the vertex equation and show calculations for the A value. Well, the first thing you want to do is identify the vertex, H and K. And then the remaining point that's given to you, you call that a generic X and Y. And then you're going to plug that into vertex form. We put all 4 of these numbers in. The Y is -20. We don't know the A value, so we'll leave that as a variable. X is 2. The opposite of H is -6. And then +12 for the K. Now we're going to take care of all of this stuff here. 2 minus 6 is -4. When you square it, it's 16. And we'll subtract 12 from both sides. And then we divide both sides by 16. And that tells us that A is the number -2. And to finish this, you're going to write it in vertex form. It's up here, except I'm going to just do the template version of it. Here's the template. We know A is -2. The opposite of this H value is -6 or -6. And the K is +12. And there's our answer. Okay, the next one here is the exact same type of problem, so I'm going to just start out by labeling the vertex and the other point that's given to us. So y equals ax minus h squared plus k. You're going to use 23 for the y value. You're going to use 10 for the x value. Take away 5 is the opposite of h, plus the k value, which is 8. When you simplify 10 minus 5 squared later, you get 25. And we're going to subtract 8 off both sides and divide by 25. So that tells me a is equal to, dividing by 5 here gives 3/5. So the template, I'll set that up for our answer. Looks like that. We know the a value is 3/5. The opposite of h is minus 5. And the k value is positive 8. Okay. So the last problem, number 6, at the bottom of this page here, is actually the same type of problem, except that you're given the y-intercept in a different format than you're going to use it. Y-intercepts look like this. They're up on the y-axis or down below, but in either case, well, this one's down below. The x is equal to 0 there. So this is the x value that we kind of hid from you, and that's the y value when you're on the y-intercept. So we'll label this h and k, and now we're doing the same type of work we just did. So let me do that quickly. So the y value is negative 5. X is 0 at that point because it's a y-intercept. Plus 4 is the opposite of h. Plus 11. When you square all this, 0 plus 4 is 4 squared would be 16. You get negative 5 equals 16 times a plus 11. Subtract 11 off both sides. And divide by 16 here. So a will equal negative 1. So all you have to do now is fill in the template, and you'll have your answer. The a value is negative 1. The opposite of this is positive 4, and the k value is 11. So we're going to check this answer, and I'll show you how to check it. The same procedure would actually work up here. So we're going to first of all graph it. And let me go to the y equals key. You might notice that I have the plot one on. If that's the case, turn it off. So go up there and turn it off. Okay. So I'm going to graph this equation here. Zoom 6. And we've got this graph going here. So what I'm going to do here is maybe open up the graph a little higher on the window. I'll go to Window, and I'll change the Y-max to 20 instead of 10. Hit Graph again. Now when it settles down, I'm going to touch the Trace key and go -4, Enter, and you'll see it's blinking at the correct vertex up there. And then if I say 0, Enter for the X, I'm going to get the right Y-intercept, and you can see it's blinking in the right spot there. And that does it for problems 1 through 6 on the Chapter 2 review, Part A.